Well, hello friends, your friend David Valentine here with another video. Welcome back to the channel. This time we're going to be wrapping up the preseason for Orlando City, and we're going to be talking about the first team that Orlando City is going to be facing opening the 2021 season. That's going to be Atlanta United. Well, since my last video about the preseason, Orlando City has played different games, all but one. Orlando City has defeated their opponent, all MLS opponents, which tells me that Orlando City is it's about quality this year. I have actually spoke with a friend of the internet, and I said to him, I said, you know what, the thing that I'm most excited about this season is because I'm seeing the things that have been promised, not the words. In the past, we were told, oh, this team is going to be the greatest, and we ended up exactly where we started, not making playoffs. So, Sylvester Vanderwater has arrived, and that wraps up the players that were expected to be with the team. Now, a question that has not been answered is the MLS draft players that were picked. None of them have shown to camp, which is a first for me since Orlando City has joined MLS. Usually those guys were picked, and within a few weeks they were already in camp, and some were selected and some were released. This year, none of them have shown up. They are still playing with their teams. There's talk that they are going to be coming in the summer window because of COVID. MLS is going to be giving special dispensation to the guys that were drafted. Now, I do not know if these guys are good contenders to stay with the squad because the squad is pretty swollen. If you Google how many players an MLS squad should have, the number that is given is 30. So, I really don't know if the guys that were drafted, all of them, are actually going to make squad. I've been seeing Orlando City pictures with a lot of guys that were part of the academy and that were with OCB last year. And some of them are pretty good. Moises Tablante, Daniel Rosario, Kemble Guadalupe. And these guys, to be quite honest, they have a space with Orlando City in MLS. So I do not know if the guys that were drafted will actually make it. So that's the big question for Orlando City fans right now. What do we do with our academy graduates that are talented enough to just make the jump, like Wilfredo Rivera has done this year so far? And what do we do with the guys that were drafted this year, which some of them, especially in the attacking side, are very impressive. So we will have to see. That will be the question that will have to be answered. And like every other Orlando City fan, the answer is I trust Oscar Pareja's decision. I'm going to leave it at that. So these are the guys that are going to be wearing our colors as of today, which is 4:50 p.m. April 3rd. Let's go. Mateo Zayas, Tesha Kindele, Nani, Alexander Alvarado, Brandon Austin, Jordan Bender, Antonio Carlos, Joey Desard, Daryl Dike, Pedro Galese, Michael Holiday, Robin Jansen, David Loera, Sebastian Mendez, Benjamin Michel, Joao Moutinho, Chris Mueller, Alexander Pato, Andres Perea, Mauricio Pereira, Wilfredo Rivera, Uri Rosell, Rodrigo Schlegel, Kyle Smith, Mason Stutterhart, Juan, Junior Urso, and Sylvester Vanderwater. So those are the guys that so far we have under contract, ready to go come April 17th. What are my expectations going into the season? Playoffs, obviously. We did it last year with a squad that nobody gave a chance, and that really wasn't as talented as the one that we have this year. And expectations to get into the top 8 teams that are going to go to Open Cup. Obviously, we have an extra tournament, Leagues Cup, which is going to pair Orlando City against international competition. First time that we have that. That is not an actual friendly. So we'll have to see how that goes. And obviously, playoffs, MLS Cup. So, what about the opponent that we're gonna have April 17th? A little bit of back history. Orlando City. This is the seventh year in a row since coming into MLS that they start their season at home. All the games except one have been ties, and that was 2017, the opening of Exploria Stadium, and it was a 1-0 victory against New York City. Lone goal by Kyle Laren. Most of the games, unfortunately, had ended with Orlando City having 10 men, and most have been ties where Orlando City has to come from behind. Last year was the first time on opening day where neither team scored. It was a 0-0 result, very disappointing. And but the team looked very good. We just couldn't find the back of the net, and I chuckled at the fact that we had a lot of new faces and a new manager. And RSL, I'm gonna give him a lot of credit. They were very good defensively. They came for a tie, and they got exactly that. With that said, Orlando City is facing what is called a rival. I'm of the belief that rivalries are born on the pitch through gameplay. New York City is certainly a rival in my eyes. Miami, definitely a rival. Let's see, Columbus, definitely a rival. One that you probably are not expecting, LAFC, is definitely a rival. There's a lot of bad blood there, even when both teams had only seen each other a few times. But if you ask an LAFC fan, they will tell you they want to get the best out of Orlando for what happened in MLS's back and the result the year before that in gameplay. Portland, definitely, there's a rivalry there because of gameplay. And when those teams face each other, I think it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of bad blood. New England Red Bulls. Why? Because of things that have happened on the pitch. The thing with Atlanta is very ham-fisted. It has been very lopsided because Atlanta came to the league, surprisingly to everybody, with a lot of talent. Best manager money could buy, best players money could buy, and in the first 2 years, they dominated the league. Second year, definitely lifted the trophy. But when you have a team built with people who are there as mercenaries, once they move on, then you have to recreate that. Now your opposition is aware of what you can do, so they're gonna replicate that. So the fact of the surprise that Atlanta had in 2018, it's already gone. They were not as successful in 2019. In my opinion, the cracks in the armor were starting to show with Frank de Boer at the helm, which Tata Martino, obviously, we now hear the stories about them practicing more than what the MLS Union had authorized, that the guys were really bored, they really wanted to play, that they were training 3 a days and all sorts of things, and explains why that team was drilled to perfection. Meanwhile, other teams like Orlando City, with Jason Kreis on board, felt that losing is just part of life. One of the most frustrating things during the early years of Orlando versus Atlanta was that Jason Kreis really did not care about defeating Atlanta. There was a lot of animosity in the between the fan bases, and I'm gonna go to that in a second. And Jason Kreis really did not care for winning. Jason Kreis, it's a loser in my eyes, and if you don't think that, I suggest you watch my video about the under 20 U.S. under 23s, where I explained that the reason why our U23s fail to qualify for the Olympics was because of Jason Kreis. A lot of talking heads will tell you, no, it's not that. It was poor quality players. It was they weren't out there doing what they were supposed to do. And my question to them is, who picked those players? Who drilled those players? Who coached those players? Who set up the tactics? Who set up the dynamics? Jason Kreis. And when you interview him after, he's like, well, it's part of life. You're gonna lose more than you're gonna win. What in the world are you talking about? In one post game interview, Jason Christ went and said, our goals right now, we're trying to be like Atlanta. You just got smashed by a team that talked trash about you, went to your house, defeated you. Their fans laughed at your fans, stomped their ground, ridiculed them, started chanting, "You can't beat us," and that's the best you can tell your defeated fan base. We're trying to be like them. That's why Jason Christ got fired, rightfully so. And that's why he is nowhere near Orlando. And I guarantee you that we're gonna see that bad cancerous philosophy that he has consuming Miami in 2021. Save this video, come back to it, follow me on social media, and you're gonna see that I'm gonna be bringing this back up. Now, with Atlanta in against Orlando, they have won 7 games. They have drawn 4, and they have lost 2. Again, in 2017, that was probably the best Orlando team that have faced them until that point. We had Kaká, we had Kyle Aaron, which failed to show up for the first 2 games because he was under suspension thanks to his drunk driving arrest. Have he been on the pitch? Different story. And how 2017 ended was with basically Jose Aja and Tito Villalba being the protagonists of how those first 2 games ended. Golazo from Tito Villalba, thanks to Jose Aja's ambivalence to defending him. He put on a golazo. They won the game. Orlando went up to Atlanta. Golazo from half the pitch by Kaká, and then once again those 2 players, Villalba and Aja, face each other. Aja tries to play outside trap. Tito Villalba 1-on-1 with Joe Bendick, and they tie it. And the same story was going to happen a few months later in Atlanta when we show up with Kyle Aaron, Dom Dwyer, Kaká, and in that game, Atlanta had to come back 3 times just to tie the game. And I felt there was a lot of wasted opportunities. How do you allow them to come back, and tie the game? After that, Orlando basically lost every single game by a goal. It was always 1-0 results, with the exception of 2018, the summer of 2018, where we had fired Jason Christ, told him to get the hell out of town, and we went up to Atlanta with Bobby Murphy, interim coach that could care less. He didn't even drill our guys. We just showed up, basically, and got hammered 4-0. After that, James Conner takes over. Same results, same disappointing results, because we never looked cohesive enough to play a team that now was in the decline. In 2019, Atlanta managed to win the Open Cup, but their road to the Open Cup was probably one of the easiest ones. They played a very bad Columbus Crew, a very bad FC Cincinnati, a USL side, St. Louis FC, which they were very good, but again, USL side. And then they played Orlando, and we made some very bad tactical decisions that day. We played on gold. Adam Green was good guy, hero of the shootout against New York City. But at that point, when you're so close to the end, my opinion, you should have played your number 1 pick for goal in Brian Rowe. Because what did Atlanta did? They played their number 1 keeper, Brad Guzan, and he showed the quality. The 2 goals that were allowed in, I don't think that Brian would have let them in my opinion, my humble opinion. And also, we came up with a lineup that was more like, oh, we're playing a USL side, or we're in the early stages of the Open Cup and we really don't care. And Atlanta came in with this was a championship. and my friends, they took that game and they battled very determined Minnesota United, and at the end, football being football, cruel and unpredictable, they won. And what really thing that the thing that hurt me about that event was the fact that that fan base really didn't care for the Open Cup. 2 years prior, they had called the Open Cup Party City Trophy. I have been for the last 11 seasons. I've been dreaming of lifting that trophy, a trophy that has a lot of history, a lot of prestige in the United States, and to see people that really didn't care for it lifting it up tells me how cruel this game can be sometimes. That's it. Go on to 2020, and that team completely imploded Orlando City. The last year, Orlando City defeated them in Atlanta, 3-1. Second game in Orlando was a tie. Sadly, we couldn't keep up the clean sheet. Gave up a late goal, and again they had to come from behind to tie it. Again, when you allow a goal for the tie, it always feels like a defeat, and it's not the other way around. And there was a 0-0 result in Atlanta after that. Those two ties, I felt that Orlando could have won those games. But Orlando will take its revenge in Orlando on a 4-1 victory, where basically a team that was used to be on the pitch celebrating, they bolted out of there, and they had no reason to stay on the pitch because their fans had left 15 minutes prior. So that's what's gonna happen. What are we gonna see on 4-1-7-2-1? What are we gonna see April 17th, 2 weeks from now? I think that as far as Orlando, this being a vlog that obviously it's about Orlando City, I'm gonna concentrate on Orlando primarily. But from Orlando, we're gonna see more of what we have seen in 2020, the philosophy, the drilling, the Oscar Pareja, the philosophy, the setting. We have new weapons. I'm interested to see about Alexander Pato, and a guy super talented, and also a guy that in preseason videos seems like the guy is firing on all cylinders. Also, Sylvester Water comes in mid-season shape, and that guy likes to score too. So that's something that I would like to see. Also, and this is just personal opinion, Wilfredo Rivera, 17 years old, kid just fresh out of camp, not only with Orlando City but with the Puerto Rico national team. He played 90 minutes against Trinidad and Tobago, against men on average 10 to 12 years older than him, and he did beautifully. Had a opportunity to score. I think I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be biased. I'm Puerto Rican, so I really want this kid to get a couple of minutes on game day. I think he can definitely make a difference. But the reality is that all the pressure is on Atlanta right now. If Orlando loses, it's back to business, right? But all the pressure is on them because the MLS talking heads have built them up. They're like, oh, last year you just had a bad coach and your talisman, Joseph Martinez, was hurt. But if we are putting over reliance on one player, Orlando City definitely has done that with Kaká, has definitely done that with Nani. All you gotta do is double team that player, and boom, that's it. Knocked off the competition. So all the pressures on Atlanta. They're an enigma right now. We know very little of what's going on with them. They have basically restricted the videos on their media channels, and the teams they have played against. They have played a lot of USL 1 and USL teams, which doesn't show the real picture. But what we know from people that were at the Tormenta game is that Jose Martinez looked overweight, slow, complaining about his knee, and irritable. And that may be a factor on that day, because Joseph Martinez has disrespected Orlando City every time a microphone has been put in front of him. And now he is not playing with the cast that he had before. He's playing with a bunch of guys that are starting anew with a new manager versus a team that mostly knows each other with a manager that knows what's up and that has been with those guys and in a very hostile environment. Orlando's home, Exploria Stadium, even with the COVID restrictions, sounds like a roaring lion on game day. So he's going to have to face a bunch of guys that really don't like him at 3 p.m. in the Florida heat. Can he handle that? We'll have to see. This game has to be a win. That's the expectation. It has to be a win for three main reasons. Because this year, the first three games per team, are going to decide who's going to be in the representative for MLS in Open Cup. So, what's going to happen is we have to win if we want to be in Open Cup, period. Even a tie, to me, is a disaster. We have to win that game. Two, is a team that really has thrived on talking trash about Orlando. The good thing is now we have a manager that does care about the result for the stands. Now we have players that understand what it means to win that game for the stands. And we have a front office that understand what it means to win that game for the stands. A club that decides on the first meeting to put a billboard 2 blocks away from the stadium talking trash, this has to be smash, smash, smash. That's it. This is beyond football. It's beyond the 90 minutes, beyond the 3 points. This is about pride. And Orlando City knows that. And they're going to have to go out there and defeat them. Because if they lose, it's back to the same reality that they have been living. One of the main things when you win this game is psychologically, you pump yourself up. You defeated your rival. You took 3 points. You put them in a position where they might not make Open Cup. And you knocked them out of the tournament, just like they did to Orlando in 2019. And you basically now you're laser focused on the season, laser focused on everything else. That's a reality that Orlando City has within them. I believe they can win. Not because I'm a fan, it's because the numbers, the data, the results, everything points out to Orlando defeating Atlanta on that day. Now, if you are a fan of Atlanta and you say, oh yeah, this is all trash talk and whatever, the fact is that the team that gave you all the glories, all the wins, is not coming out of that tunnel April 17th. For Orlando, the team and the managers and the failures, the failed front office, all that failure is not coming out of that tunnel on April 17th. So, what we have is a very committed team and an enigma. Who knows? In all my 27 years of following the sport, I have seen teams that are supposed to win, lose. Teams that are supposed to lose, win. So, we don't know what's going to happen. The ball is round. The pitch is green. There's 22 men and 11 men and 90 minutes. That's how football is. So Orlando has everything going for itself. Longevity, history, talent, the fans, the heat, Exploria Stadium. Everything is against Atlanta. Atlanta wins. You're going to impress me. I just don't think it's going to happen. That said, Orlando has to win because we have to put behind the defeats. We have to put behind the bad seasons. This is a new time. This is a new season. And on the year where we celebrate our 11th season and our 10th year of kicking a ball, the time to do it will be April 17th. My friends, I really gone more than I expected. I hope you had stayed with me this past 24 minutes. So at the end, please like, share, subscribe. The purpose of this channel is to inform and entertain as many Orlando City fans as possible. If you have seen all the videos on my channel, you have seen that I go to the stadium, I record, I try different things. This year, I want to do a little bit of unsolicited, uneducated football analysis mixed with vlogging to make the videos more entertaining and less of me just basically recording gameplay and my opinions. I'm gonna experiment with a couple of things this year. So I hope that you are joining me in that ride. I can be found on Twitter at Florida underscore man76 and Instagram 407 Root Boy. And Tiro de Esquina is the podcast that I've been producing, Spanish language podcast about Orlando City. If you speak Spanish or you know somebody that will benefit from basically following Spanish language podcast about Orlando City, please follow us, listen to us, tell your friends. With that said, next time you see me in front of the camera will be to talk about the result. So hopefully it will go our way. I think so. I think this year is a year where Oscar Pareja once again will fulfill the promise that he made me and my friend Kenneth in February of 2020, where he said, guys, the time for losing in Orlando has ended today. Go City, vamos Orlando.